1/3 of humanity has been living a lie. Susan Cain spent 7 years uncovering why quiet people secretly hold the keys to power, creativity, and true leadership. What she found will transform how you see yourself forever. Here is the paradox that will haunt you. We live in a world obsessed with bold personalities, loud voices, and charismatic leaders. Yet some of the most world-changing figures in history, from Rosa Parks to Albert Einstein to Eleanor Roosevelt, describe themselves as soft-spoken and reserved. Susan Cain calls this the extrovert ideal, a value system that has dominated Western culture for over a century. And here is what nobody tells you. This ideal is not natural. It was manufactured. Before the 20th century, character mattered more than personality. People valued inner virtue over outer charm. But something shifted, and that shift has been quietly destroying the potential of millions of people who think differently. The question is, what happened? And more importantly, what are we losing because of it? The transformation began in the early 1900s when America shifted from a culture of character to a culture of personality. Suddenly, how you presented yourself mattered more than who you actually were. Dale Carnegie's self-help empire taught millions to win friends through charm and performance. Advertisements promised that the right personality could guarantee success. But here is where it gets fascinating. This was not evolution. It was marketing. Companies realized that insecurity sells. Make people feel inadequate about their natural temperament, and you create lifelong customers for self-improvement products. Schools began rewarding the talkative students. Workplaces promoted the loudest voices in the room. And somewhere along the way, we started treating introversion like a personality flaw to be fixed rather than a different kind of strength. If this shift was manufactured, that means it can be unmade. And Susan Cain's research shows exactly how. Now let me show you something remarkable about the introvert brain that changes everything. Neuroscientists discovered that introverts and extroverts have fundamentally different nervous systems. It is not about being shy or antisocial. It is about how your brain processes stimulation. Introverts have higher baseline arousal levels in their neocortex. What does that mean? Their brains are already more active at rest, so they need less external stimulation to feel engaged. Extroverts, by contrast, need more stimulation to reach the same level of engagement. This is why crowded parties energize some people while draining others. Neither response is better or worse. They are simply different operating systems. But here is the pattern interrupt. Our entire society, from classrooms to boardrooms, is designed for the extrovert operating system. We have created environments that systematically disadvantage 1/3 of the population. And the cost of this design flaw is staggering. Consider what happens in American classrooms. Susan Cain visited schools where children sit in pods, constantly collaborating, with little time for independent thought. Teachers reward participation, which means the confident speakers get praised while the deep thinkers get overlooked. One teacher told Cain that her best student barely spoke in class, but wrote the most brilliant essays she had ever read. That student was learning to believe her mind was somehow broken. Now multiply this by millions of children over decades. We have created a system that trains quiet kids to doubt their greatest strengths. But the research on creativity tells a completely different story. Studies consistently show that solitude is essential for creative breakthroughs. Wozniak built the first Apple computer alone. Newton developed calculus during isolation. Kafka, Proust, and Thoreau all did their greatest work in solitude. The very trait we punish in children is the same trait that produces genius. But here is where it gets even more important. Everything I have told you so far is just the foundation. The real insight from Susan Cain's research strikes at the heart of modern leadership. We assume the best leaders are charismatic, dominant, and commanding. Harvard Business School, the training ground for corporate America, explicitly selects for extroversion. But Wharton professor Adam Grant discovered something shocking. When employees are proactive, extroverted leaders actually perform worse than introverted ones. Why? Because extroverted leaders feel threatened by employee ideas. They dominate conversations and miss critical insights. Introverted leaders, by contrast, listen more carefully, let others shine, and make better decisions because they consider more perspectives. Think about that. The very qualities we screen out when selecting leaders are the qualities that produce the best outcomes. We have been promoting people into failure for decades. And it is not just business. The implications touch every aspect of how society organizes itself. Susan Cain reveals a concept that most people completely overlook. She calls it the rubber band theory of personality. You can stretch your natural temperament, but there are limits. An introvert can learn to give presentations, network at conferences, and lead meetings. But they cannot become a genuine extrovert any more than a left-handed person can become truly right-handed. The key is finding your restorative niche, environments where you can return to your authentic self after stretching. But here is the tension that makes this so difficult. Society rewards those who stretch constantly without rest. We celebrate the hustle culture that burns people out. Introverts face a unique burden. They must perform extroversion to succeed while hiding the exhaustion it causes. Many spend decades feeling broken before discovering they were simply operating against their natural design. The question nobody asks is this: what would the world look like if we designed it for both temperaments equally? Now I want you to pay close attention because this is the insight that ties everything together. Susan Cain studied Asian cultures and found something remarkable. In many Eastern societies, quiet is considered a sign of wisdom rather than weakness. Students who listen carefully are respected. Leaders who speak less are trusted more. This is not ancient tradition. It is a different but equally valid cultural operating system. Research shows Asian American students often outperform their peers academically, particularly in subjects requiring deep concentration. The qualities dismissed as awkwardness in Western contexts become advantages in Eastern frameworks. What does this prove? The extrovert ideal is not universal human nature. It is a cultural choice. And if it is a choice, we can choose differently. Susan Cain argues for a new framework. Not that introverts are better than extroverts or vice versa, but that humanity needs both. We need the bold visionaries and the careful implementers, the charismatic speakers and the deep listeners. The pattern is finally clear. So how do you actually apply this wisdom to your life? Susan Cain offers 3 transformative strategies. First, identify your core personal projects. These are the activities so meaningful that you willingly stretch your temperament to pursue them. An introverted professor might tolerate exhausting lectures because teaching matters deeply. Find what matters enough to stretch for. Second, create deliberate restorative niches. Before challenging events, schedule recovery time. After networking, take a quiet walk. Design your calendar around your energy, not just your tasks. Third, and this is crucial, practice strategic authenticity. You do not need to pretend to be someone else. You need to bring your genuine strengths to environments that undervalue them. The quiet person who listens deeply, thinks carefully, and speaks with precision adds irreplaceable value. The world needs exactly what you naturally offer. Your introversion is not a limitation to overcome. It is a superpower waiting to be. Understood. But wait, there is one more piece to this puzzle that Susan Cain addresses with remarkable honesty. What about introverts raising children or working with partners who have the opposite temperament? Cain argues that understanding these differences can transform relationships. When you realize your extroverted partner needs social stimulation the same way you need solitude, conflict dissolves into compassion. When you recognize your quiet child is not broken but differently wired, you stop trying to fix what was never damaged. The research shows that introvert-extrovert partnerships often produce the most balanced outcomes. One partner generates ideas while the other refines them. One energizes groups while the other notices what everyone else misses. The combination creates something neither could achieve alone. This is not about tolerance. It is about genuine appreciation for what different temperaments contribute. And it applies beyond romance to friendships, workplaces, and entire communities designed to honor both ways of being. Susan Cain ends her book with a powerful challenge. She asks readers to consider what they would do if they knew they could not fail at it. For many introverts, the answer involves creative work, deep thinking, meaningful one-on-one connections, or solving complex problems. These are not lesser ambitions. They are the ambitions that actually change the world. Rosa Parks did not need to shout to start a revolution. She needed to stay seated. Gandhi did not need to dominate conversations. He needed to fast and pray and listen. The most powerful leaders in history often spoke softly, but carried deep conviction. Their quiet was not weakness. It was concentration. It was focus. It was the space where original thought becomes possible. The extrovert ideal has been running unchallenged for a century. But ideas have power, and Susan Cain's quiet revolution is already reshaping how we think about human potential. So here is what I want you to take away from this journey through Susan Cain's remarkable research. The world did not accidentally favor extroverts. It was deliberately designed that way through marketing, education, and cultural choices. But that design can be changed. Your introversion is not a deficiency. It is a different operating system optimized for depth, creativity, and careful thinking. The science confirms what you may have always sensed. There is profound power in quiet reflection, in listening before speaking, in thinking before acting. The question now is simple. What will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue pretending to be someone you are not? Or will you embrace the strengths you were born with and design a life that honors who you actually are? Susan Cain has given us permission to stop apologizing for our nature. The rest is up to you. The quiet revolution starts with one person choosing authenticity over performance. Now you understand why quiet people secretly hold the keys to power that society has overlooked for generations. If this wisdom resonated with you, subscribe to the Synopsis Forge, where we turn great books into transformative insights every week. I want to know, are you an introvert who has felt pressured to change? Or perhaps you now see a quiet person in your life differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What book should we explore next? Your suggestion might become our next episode.